All right. So yeah, so going back to my house, because this was really, really important, what had happened here. I took the information from my Geiger counter pictures and recordings and showed the city office, look, this is the front of my house. And they said, that's your property. First they accused me that I can't take the readings. They said, that's your property. You have to dig up, you have to clean it up, and you have to bury it on your property. And then I was like, wait a minute. So I'm not qualified to take a Geiger counter reading, which is a button that you push, but I'm qualified to clean up radioactive dirt and dispose of it.
You could get a job with the DOE or the NRC in the United States. Sounds like you're freaking very qualified.
Oh, yeah.
You got as much qualifications as they got.
You know, and I'm a woman, I'm a foreigner, and so they hated the fact that I was so loud. You know, I was Mexican American, what can I say?
Yeah, and,
Mexican
and you're
Americans.
in Japan. Yeah.
But I was just watching that today. But no, but
that's Cheech Marin.
yeah.
We love him, by the
Mexican
way.
American.
I've tried to get him
Go to
on our
Japan.
side.
Oh, he's coming to Poland like next month. I'm gonna take my husband to go see it. That's the only comedy show I can take my husband and he'd understand. But but yeah, so they. I was just going around in circles, you know, and I was like, am I on candid camera? You know, because I was like, I'm not cleaning up that dirt. And the guy just kept telling me the same thing over and over. It was like it was a script that he had memorized, and to everything that I said, he repeated it.
Well, you know,
again.
Here's what people forget about this. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this playbook had been gilded in gold, cast in concrete. So it isn't like it wasn't there. They'd been practicing that playbook for 65 years. You know?
Yeah.
And so it was refined, it was polished, and it wasn't anything new to cover up, because that's how they handled Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything new. They had it refined to a fine science. So did the United States, had it refined to a fine science. But they didn't count on activists like Rachel, myself, Kathy Iwan, you know, who were in Japan, and my YouTube camera, because, you know, my father was nuked to death in Nevada test site, Pendleton. So I've been in right here, this playbook my whole life. Mm-hmm. You know, I knew it.
Yeah.
Just like you knew it. Mm-hmm. And we had the internet.
Yeah.
You know, before they squashed us.
Oh man, without the internet, I wouldn't have known anything.
I mean, can you imagine without the live cam on? People don't understand too about the live cam.
Yeah.
That's Chinese activists that got that cam
really?
out there.
Yeah, I watched that.
In the China Sea. So, how many of the other ones melted down? Who knows? Because we had that cam, which was posted 24, which is a long, hard fight in the activist community. Those were Chinese activists that had that out there.
You know what? I use that the live cam every night to see if there were steam releases. I would read through everybody's comments.
By the way, so this is coming up. I'm the guy that found that video on the live cam in June 14th, 2011, when it blew up, completely blew to smithereens again. There was 2 views. I found that, posted it, then a vlogger in Hawaii posted that. So they're out there. They can't hide it, and we multiple backed it up. So go ahead with your reading.
Yeah, you know how it helped me so much was because I could see the steam that was being. I'm like, they're doing a release, and then I could keep my kids home from school that day. You know, I wouldn't let them go out if the wind was blowing toward where I live. And I could see, or if there was anything that was happening, there's something on fire, anything like that. That was my weather report. Yeah. That's how I had to live daily. So of course my husband said I was going crazy. I was like, who can live like that? Yeah. You know, and so the that live cam really.
Well, that should have been going on here. You know, they crashed RadNet. So get back to some more of your readings.
Yeah. So I won the battle with them about. I won the battle to get them to come out and check. I said, okay, if you can't believe my readings, bring your professional, you know, city-owned Geiger counter, and let's put it next to each other. And they're like, no. And then finally, how I got them to come out was, technically, the dirt was on city property. So it was like on the curb, but technically it was not. It was right on the city side of that line.
So talk about other places besides your house that you did readings.
Sure. So this is Awata Elementary School. I found out when they were scheduled to go test, at the elementary schools, and I went with them. And I took dirt wherever they found something, or wherever I found something. I just took a dirt sample, sent it off to the lab. This one here's in English. This is Awata. So you can see here, 5,000 becquerels per kilogram right there.
This again is 100, 150 miles.
Yeah, we were out.
Plant.
Yeah. And then they give us this, you know, the energy, you know, so you can get more detailed idea of the.
Now you were paying for some of these studies yourself independently, huh? You're in your little group.
Yeah, just me.
Just
me. My husband wasn't happy about that.
I'll bet.
And I saved the receipts actually. I can show you some receipts.
We'll get some activists out there to reimburse you for that. There's plenty of people out there that'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It wasn't as expensive as you might think. It was.
Well, when we end up suing the freaking DOE, we'll add that as freaking damages.
This is my Geiger counter reading right there. So that's just 0.29 for Awata. That goes with this
Nice.
reading here.
Very thorough work.
Yeah. So. This was near a friend's house, right on the city limit of Hayama and Yokosuka. And yeah, that one had about 3,000, just in the parking lot, but right there by a preschool. We have another one here is dirt at the, oh, same thing, this is in English. This is the English one. Let me get that. And here's again the, you know, the graph of that. So this is Oats Preschool. This one was really important because I took this to the city, and this one had, at the entrance of the preschool on my street, 13,787 becquerels of dirt. Okay, now I want you to imagine, this is the thing, let me just go off, because people need to understand this, okay? If you're in preschool, you're in kindergarten, and you're like this, and you're a girl or a boy with hair, okay, and the dust gets thrown up, okay, where's that going? Right, you're breathing it in. It's in your hair. The hottest point in my house was my kindergartner's pillow.
Wow.
With her pillow.
And it's unarguable that it causes cancer. It's unarguable.
Well, last year, in September, Akari, my daughter, got the one that was in kindergarten. She got a cyst on her fallopian tube, not on her ovary, in her fallopian tube. It's
How old is she?
11.
Wow.
It's 1 in 1.5 million women might get it there, and that's women.
Okay.
You know.
I want to tell this real quick too, so people understand about the corruption of the nuclear industry. Not just in Japan, but here. So my friend Sam, who I've been in the anti-nuclear fight with, is a spent fuel pool welder. He owned the company and ran the company that did the spent fuel welding of the spent fuel pools at Indian Point. He's the one that told me, he says, they've been leaking into the Hudson the whole time. He had welded in all the spent fuel pools in Fukushima, Japan, pre the disaster of 2011. He said when we would go over there and work, we would get a list. Now, how do you pronounce the mob over there?
Yakuza.
Yakuza. So we would get a list. X amount of cases of Cutty Sark, this, blah, blah, blah. And he says you would have to pay cash to them to even work over there. And he says big piles of hundreds. And so, and it's the same thing here. You know, when Joni Ray and I caught San Onofre, because this is 5 years on the San Onofre shutdown, when we snuck, I was full of cancer. We snuck in there and caught the fake union workers. You know, they weren't union workers. I grew up as a union plaster down here. You know, I know you can't fake me. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of the workers, a lot of people know this already, but they were all people that owed money to the Yakuza. Those were the people that they hired to come work in
And there's urns all over
yeah.
Japan with them dead. There's people. I saw videos when I was in Austria that these freelancers gone into different Buddhist temples all over with urns, and they're labeled Fukushima worker. So they were finding homeless, they were finding people that owed, people whatever, and make them sign waivers, and when they died, there was no funeral, there was no notice to kin. They just cremated them and put them in an urn. Goodbye.
Yeah. So yeah, so this was Oates Preschool, and so this was here's the energy of it. Okay, so this was the city put out information on this with pictures. This is the city's Geiger counter, you know, but they you know, gave us this notice. They had to notify the people in the area of that, and so that's what that is there. This is Oates Junior High, where my daughter attended. Yep, 2400.
2415, that was.
Yep.
Which, by the way, if people don't know how high those readings are, they're gargantuous. They break the scale by multiple times.
And you wouldn't want to eat this, okay? And just imagine kids. Imagine kids, they fall down, they skid their knee, or they, you know, they're playing in the dirt, then they pick their nose, right? How many times does a kid wash their hands really during the day? You know, they're at school, they're playing in the dirt.
And like you can wash that off.
Yeah,
it doesn't wash off.
So, you know, it was driving me nuts. So these are so the city, when they go check, you know, they put down all the readings. This is another city provided.
So when did you leave Japan?
I left July of 2012. So during that year and a half, it was, I thought that I could stay if they could handle it properly, because we owned our own house. We were living there. We were raising our kids there. I thought that we could stay if we could get it cleaned up, but the way that they did not clean up, the way that they lied, the way that I was being shut up, I was called a monster parent along with other ladies that didn't let their kids drink the milk that had already been recalled. Or a whole nother battle I could talk about is the school lunches. In Japan, everybody eats the lunch that they serve at school together, and they serve each other.
Where we grew up here. Same thing on the milk study here. You know, I grew up in Utah and here, but in Utah, they covered up those milk readings in Utah. Everybody ate school lunch. School lunch was, my aunt was the cook, and we had fantastic school lunches, but they shoved that milk down us, and now we know for a fact they hit all those freaking numbers. I wonder why we all have cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, this playbook had been written.
Yeah.
I mean, this lie is a globalist lie, and like I said, it's important. This will be, you know, here in a few minutes. Bobby died 50 years, but you know, the announcement of the shutdown of Senate Opera, I don't think people have any clue. We'll do more dissertations on that. We have a lot planned for this week. We're going, there's a native ceremony on the 9th, but we have lots of plans up to that, and I'm going to tell the real story of how we did get it shut down. It was us grassroots or activists the same way. We took them on behind the scenes with me full of leukemia. We've been fighting them for years. They're afraid of us because, you know, of this. And by the way, I want people to know this is very dangerous work that we do. Very dangerous work. And I'm telling you, you don't think they don't play dirty? Oh, they play beyond dirty. You know, and so this is a global international cartel. It's, well, you know what I call it? I call it the nuclear energy crime syndicate. It's the most evil crime syndicate on earth. So we'll cut it off here. We'll get these loaded up tonight, and then we'll stay at this while she's got time. I'm going to be here for a while. And so we'll do a lot of work at San Onofre. A lot of work. We got to get that waste out of there, and we're going to get that waste out of there. And we're going to, you know, the tail and the dead tide pools. I'll get back on the tide pools and get you at Point Loma, you know, all the way up and down here. And like I said, I didn't even, Peter found Rachel at an event the other day, and then she called me. I'd never met Rachel before, and I didn't even know she was a PB girl. Up here. And so
I knew you.
Yeah. And so the ironies in these circles, they're important. And this tell has to be told. I really appreciate you, Rachel, and
Thank
it's
you.
important work. Thank you for doing all this historic work. I mean, Neil Mine Nobel Prize. Yeah, I got nominated by Freedom Eisenhower in Austria. She's the greatest anti-nuclear activist there was. She died, she was 88, but she nominated me for what they call the Alternative Nobel Prize in Vienna.
Oh, wow.
And she's in but she died that year. But what's his name says, well, if she wouldn't have died, you probably would have won it, which is a big deal over there, a very big deal, because there's real activists in the world.
Yeah.
There are. In Denmark, in Austria. It's not like here.
They had a thing up, I can't find it on the internet anymore, that showed the projection with the wind stream where everything was going to be.
Oh, I got it all over. We have all that stuff.
You have it?
We've got everything, and we got a bunch of activists that have everything backed up. You know, we just need a publicist to package all this, but we don't. Everybody's turned their back on us, you know, because look what we're up against. I mean, they're afraid. Well, I got cancer, was given 2 months to live. You know, fear no evil. Fight back. Fight or die.
Fight or die.
Because they're going to get us anyway.
Yeah.
Stay in tune.